Hello and welcome to Pushing Back, Ukraine Daily Brief. As the war enters its 994th day, these are the main developments from the past 24 hours. The update from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Russia has lost approximately 717,590 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of the war. The number, which has not been independently verified, includes 1,520 casualties over the past day. According to the released Ukrainian figures, Russia lost 11 tanks, 21 armored combat vehicles, 20 artillery systems, 2 air defense systems, 34 drones, 1 cruise missile, 77 vehicles, and 16 pieces of special equipment. The Russians launched 138 combat clashes and carried out 45 airstrikes, including 87 anti-aircraft missiles on the territory of Ukraine. They also used 400 kamikaze drones and carried out 3,000 attacks on the positions of Ukrainian troops and settlements using various types of weapons. In its latest intelligence update, the UK's Ministry of Defence reports Ukraine likely targeted the Russian port of Kaspiask with a drone, potentially damaging Russian Navy vessels. This attack is seen as retaliation for Russian naval strikes on Ukraine. While the immediate impact on Russian naval operations may be limited, the successful penetration of Russian airspace by a Ukrainian drone raises concerns about the vulnerability of Russian territory. In its latest intelligence update, the Institute for the Study of War. The Kremlin's recent economic policies indicate that the Russian economy will likely face significant challenges in 2025 and that Russian President Vladimir Putin is worried about Russia's economic stability in the long term. Putin modified compensation promised for Russian servicemen wounded while fighting in Ukraine, a clear indicator that the Kremlin is trying to cut the mounting short- and long-term costs of the war and restore balance to the Russian economy. The Kremlin's efforts to combat inflation and high interest rates are also reportedly impacting the expansion of the Russian defense industrial base and prospects for mobilizing the economy. The Russian defense industrial base is unlikely to match the production rate necessary to replace Russian weapons losses under these monetary policies. The Kremlin is also adopting policies aimed at bolstering the domestic population in the long term, signaling mounting concerns over declining demographics and labor shortages that could threaten the sustainable operations of the Russian defense industrial base. Russian forces recently advanced into Kupiansk during a likely roughly company-sized mechanized assault, although ISW does not assess that Russian forces control the area. A recent Russian state-affiliated poll suggests that most Russian residents feel largely unaffected by the war in Ukraine, supporting reports of growing concerns among Russian officials and elites that many citizens remain indifferent towards the war. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov claimed on November 14 that Russian President Vladimir Putin is personally dealing with issues concerning Ukraine and that he requires no special envoys, likely in response to reports that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump will soon appoint a Ukrainian peace envoy to lead negotiations on ending the war. Russian forces advanced in the Ukrainian main salient in Kursk Oblast, west of Ukraine's main salient in Kursk Oblast in Glushkovsky Raion, in the Chasiv Yar direction, and in the Donetsk-Zaporizhia Oblast border area. Russian sources are speculating that North Korea may have provided North Korean-produced 170mm M1989 Koksan self-propelled artillery systems to Russia. Russian mill bloggers published images showing a train transporting alleged North Korean 170mm M1989 Koksan self-propelled artillery systems in Krasnoyarsk Krai. In Zelensky's nightly address he spoke about 3 key areas. Firstly, cultural sovereignty and diplomacy. Ukraine is prioritizing cultural heritage, contemporary arts, and cultural diplomacy as part of its internal resilience plan. The initiative aims to foster unity in the cultural community and strengthen ties with the global world through the universal language of art. This effort highlights culture as a key tool for human connection and national strength. Secondly, national security enhancements. Addressing safety across all regions and communities is a core focus of the resilience plan. The Ministry of Internal Affairs and the Security Service of Ukraine have proposed solutions to ensure secure environments nationwide. Preparations in energy, armaments, and domestic production also continue to bolster Ukraine's infrastructure. Lastly, military progress and frontline efforts. Commander-in-Chief Syrsky reported significant advancements in the Kupiansk direction and ongoing resilience in Donetsk. Ukrainian forces remain steadfast in holding positions across key areas, reinforcing the nation's message to the world that freedom and human rights must prevail. Thanks for following today's updates. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. We'll return tomorrow with the latest news on the ongoing conflict.